So one of the reasons that a website is so important for a small business or for any cause really is that first impressions mean a lot. Um, you know, and often someone's first interaction with your business, someone's first point of contact is going to be your website. They may hear about the business, um, they may even see some other piece of advertising or something. But then a lot of the time, what they're going to do is they're going to go online and they're going to search. They're going to search for your business. They're going to pull up your website. So if it looks professional, and if it communicates what your brand is all about clearly, then that's great. And if they can find the information that they need, if it makes them want to take the next step in the sales process, that's fantastic. But if it doesn't, if information's outdated, if information's missing, if it looks like it was built in 1999, it's not going to give the person a good impression. Or if there's not a website a lot of the time, and that's the case. I've heard that with a lot of businesses that I have my social media accounts, so I don't really need a website. I think a website really legitimizes your business. It lets people know that you're for real, that you're in this for the long run. You're not just some kind of fly-by-night organization. A website is owned real estate, where social media is kind of like renting. When you're on Facebook, Facebook makes the rules. Facebook is in charge of who sees your posts. Facebook tells you what you can and can't post, and the rules change all the time as well, because you're just the renter. You're just there, for a temporary time on somebody else's property. But when you have a website, that's like owned real estate. That is something that is an asset that you can build up over time. You own that domain name, which kind of grows in authority over time, and you have a lot more control over what you can put on your website, over how people see it, and how you're presented. A website is really the central hub of your marketing strategy. Your ads and your social media posts, and so much of your marketing is going to point back to the website. The website is where you go to get more information. It's where you go to really get to know more about the business, interact with the business, purchase things, set up an appointment with the business. So I kind of see it as, that's the central hub, and all these other marketing activities that you're doing come off of and point back to the website. Some considerations when you are creating your website, just some things that you need to be thinking about, and you could probably go into each of these. You could really do a deep dive on each of them, but just kind of the high level view. The first thing is branding. Branding answers the question, who are you as a business? Who is your organization? And that's obviously important in all of your marketing, all of your communication, but it's really important on your website. You want your website to express your brand, to really express who you are. The colors and the photos and the text and what the text says, those are all reflective of your brand and need to be consistent with who your business is and what you're all about. The next thing is content, and I kind of touched on that in the last point, but content is primarily the text on your site, what the text says, and the photos and videos and things like that. You don't have much of a website unless you have content that's there for people to read and view and interact with. The next thing is user experience. When someone comes onto your site, you want it to load quickly. You want it to be easy to navigate. You want people to be able to find the information that they're looking for. You don't want them to be confused or to be struggling or to be overwhelmed because there's so much happening. So you want them to have a good experience as a user or visitor to the site. Another thing is search engine optimization, sometimes referred to or often referred to as SEO. And this is the process of creating your site in such a way that search engines will find it. It's all based around different keywords, which is just, it's what you type in on Google or another search engine when you're looking for something. So you want people to be able to go type in a relevant keyword, lawyers in Columbus, Ohio. And if you're a lawyer in Columbus, Ohio, you obviously want your business to pop up first there. So search engine optimization is about making that happen. There is on-page search engine optimization, which is about having keywords in the right keywords in the right places on your site. It's also about having some technical things in line so that Google or whatever search engine says this is a solid site. And it's about inbound links, the links from other sites to your site, which is really what tells Google that your site has authority, that it's a good source for information. Another thing to think about is mobile friendly design. These days, more than half of your customers are likely going to be visiting your site on a mobile device. That can vary a little bit. If you're lean more towards businesses, then there might be more laptop or desktop users on your site, but generally most people are going to be visiting on mobile devices. So the site has to translate well, no matter what, whether it's a mobile phone, tablet, laptop, desktop. It has to be responsive and be able to show up well on each of those devices. Another thing to think about is speed and security. And speed ties back into user experience, but if a site loads slowly, if it takes more than a couple seconds to load, people abandon the site. There's been tons of studies on that. So the site has to load quickly. People need to be able to get the information that they need right away. And then of course the site has to be secure. It used to be that it was only the larger businesses that had to really worry about security, but since they've tightened up their security, a lot of hackers are now targeting small businesses. So it's something you have to think about. You have to have just kind of have your ducks in a row there. Make sure you consider that. Another thing to think about is call to action. And what this is it just answers the question, what do you want customers to do when they visit the site? Do you want them to pick up the phone and call? Do you want them to fill out a form to get a quote? Do you want them to make a purchase? Is it an e-commerce site? So ultimately, what do you want them to accomplish? And are you showing value in the way that you're asking them to take that next step? Are you showing them what they're going to get out of it? So you want to have really solid calls to action on your site. Now what I want to talk about a little bit is just different options. And again, this is just a high level view, but different options for how to build your site and just give you, just kind of some of the tools to start to make that decision of how to have your site developed. So the first option is a custom coded site. This is a site that's basically coded from scratch in whatever, typically PHP, CSS, HTML. But the advantage here is that you can do just about anything, and the site can look just about any way you want it to look. The downside is that it is very expensive. It's very labor intensive for the person building it. And it's also, you're going to be dependent on somebody that knows those coding languages to make updates. If you're not extremely tech savvy, you're not going to be able to make those updates yourself. The next option is WordPress. This is what I build a lot of my sites in. It is, it's what they call a content management system. So you don't need to be able to code everything from scratch. It has a kind of drag and drop, and it has options that you can change and things like that. And WordPress has a huge user base, a huge developer base of people building tools for it, plugins and themes and add-ons. But it can be, if you are trying to learn it as a beginner, it can have kind of a high learning curve because it does so much and it has so many different options. It can be a little overwhelming. Kind of the next option down as far as complexity are site builders like Wix and Squarespace. Now they are a little bit easier to use than something like WordPress. It's not going to be quite as difficult to pick up and learn those, but at the same time they don't do quite as much. You're going to be a little bit more boxed in as far as what you can do, but and you're going to be paying for a lot of add-ons, a lot of plugins and things like that, which you have to do a lot of the time in WordPress too, but the amount of free options that are available are a lot greater in WordPress. And the final option is something called GoDaddy Website Builder, and it's really it's the easiest to use, most user-friendly option that I've seen for building websites. It really kind of walks you through the process and asks you about your business and makes it simple as possible to do something that can be very complex. The downside is, of course, there's always sort of a give and take, that it doesn't do a whole lot. It doesn't give you a whole lot of options for customization and for adding things. But if you want to build your site yourself, it's a great option. And Wix and Squarespace are good options if you're looking to do it yourself as well. WordPress, you might be stretching, but if you're fairly tech savvy, you may be able to pull it off if you are really willing to put in the work and learn it. Custom coding, that's for people that want to make a career of it, essentially. So so those are some different options. A website is, like I said, it's so important to the success of your business. It's the center of everything you're doing as far as marketing. And it's something that you really want to consider and you want to get right and do to the best of your ability. It's also something that's going to change over time, so you can always make it better. You can always change it. But you want to take it seriously and you want to do it well. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button below and have a good one. Thanks.